Hi, everyone. My name is Gaby Gonzalez. I'm currently getting my MBA at Chicago Booth. Before starting grad school, I was a nonprofit fundraiser and supported early-stage founders at MIT Solve. Through the Chicago Blend Fellowship, I was matched with an emerging manager that happened to be raising their second fund. As a former fundraiser, I couldn't help but wonder, how do LPs make decisions about who they fund? And when it comes to emerging managers, how do they make decisions with limited information? Over the last 3 months, I had the opportunity to interview 21 different LPs, representing family offices, pension funds, funds of funds, and university endowments. Together, they represent $730 billion in AUM, of which $32 billion are allocated in venture capital. I know that some of you in the room are currently raising, planning to raise, or aspire to one day raise. And I'm not here to share information with you that you could read in an industry report, but rather share information that was new to me that I hope can be helpful to you, especially if you're an emerging manager. The first insight from my conversations with LPs is about the label emerging manager. New programs for diverse managers and new managers are great in theory. However, the term itself can be a double-edged sword. The label emerging to LPs often signals high risk, inexperienced, and sometimes concessionary capital. One LP told me that taking from these programs can get you relegated to the kids' table. What's their logic? If you're a great manager and you have great experience, you shouldn't need money from these programs. However, what I say to that is take the money when available, but position yourself with a unique expertise and don't let that label define you. The second interesting insight from my conversations is that new managers need to have an obvious public platform in order to stand out. Imagine that you're an institutional LP. You've got 3 new managers in front of you, each raising their first fund. How are they going to stand out? LPs are actually going to choose the one with some sort of public platform, someone like a celebrity or a tech influencer, someone who can really leverage their brand to support the startups they invest in. One LP told me that they exclusively invest in emerging managers that have a verifiable personal brand. What's their logic? They need proof that startups are going to choose you. And what that means for you is you need to build a brand that startups need to be associated with. So what? LPs have over-allocated in venture capital over the last 5 years. They've lost their appetite for relationships with new GPs. I'm not here to be doom and gloom. I'm here to share information that I think will be helpful to you if you're new to this and you're an emerging manager. First is about some variations that are interesting about across LPs. The first is around corporate LPs. They are primarily driven by their business interests. They often actually see their VC arms as a continuation of their R&D processes. In fact, if you have a strategy that can help their bottom line, they're going to choose you, even if there's some risk with you being a first-time manager. The second is around fund of funds. These are the most risk-tolerant of LPs. That's because they're not making trade-offs across different asset classes. They're not choosing between public markets and private markets. They invest in one thing and one thing only. As a result, they have a preference for GPs with high concentration, high ownership strategies. When it comes to raising from high net worth individuals, it's a lot like the world of philanthropy. You need to align your values and motivations with that of the individual. Above selling a strategy, you're really going to be selling trust in yourself. I'd love for you to avoid these 2 common pitfalls that came up in all of my conversations. The first is that angel investing doesn't translate to VC. Angel investing is a great way for you to practice a strategy that you'd like to implement in a future fund. However, it does not substitute the need for you to have venture capital experience. The second is not sufficiently differentiating yourself from other GPs. LPs talk to about six different GPs a week. In the course of a year, they might invest in one or two of those. What that means for you is you really need to stand out across hundreds of different managers when it comes to your strategy, your personal and professional networks, as well as your pitch. Now, for those of you who aspire to one day raise your own fund, these are 3 things you can do today. The first is to start tracking your value. Log all value add that you contribute to startups and the firm that you're currently a part of. Compile references or press releases that connect you with different deals. The second is to invest your own money. The amount doesn't need to be significant, but it does need to be meaningful relative to your personal net worth. Start a microfund. That's a great way for you to get started. And the third thing for you to do is to find your twin flame. LPs do not like taking key person risk. So find a second person, a GP duo, who can really fill the gaps in your experience. Perhaps they're a PhD or a scientist. Perhaps they're spinning out of a blue chip fund. Or maybe they're a former founder. Find someone and start building that experience investing together and working through challenging topics. In conclusion, navigating today's fundraising environment is tough. Fundraising is tough. In order for you to be successful, you're going to need to have strategic patience and clear differentiation. And I'd like to be able to help you. If you're interested in sharing your pitch because you're new to this and get feedback on it, or if you're interested in discussing my research further, I'd be happy to do that and would love to. So if you have time over the course of the next few weeks or even into the new year, you can book time with me to get to know me. I'd love to meet you and learn more about your work. Thank you and have a great rest of your evening.